Hello, and welcome back to BP Pilates and Bar. Today we are going to be doing a 30-minute lower body workout using both your booty band as well as your box as we go through our class. Like I said, it's going to be focused on lower body, but there will be some abdominals as we go through there as well, just to kind of give legs a little break as we go along. I'm on a new reformer here, and I'm very excited to kind of share it with you all. This will be my first time demonstrating on this reformer. So when I go and give you spring changes, I'll try and still go for both balance body and stot, but then also just kind of talking about maybe light and medium and heavy spring settings as we go through. So again, listen to your body, change springs as needed, take breaks if you need, and let's get to it. Again, we're gonna warm up with some bridging. I'm gonna bring the booty band up above my knees, and then I'm going to lie down flat on the back. I'm going to bring my head in between my shoulder blocks here. And then I'm going to start by bringing my heels onto the foot bar in a V. My knees are going to be pressed out slightly into the band here. So my knees are pressed out slightly. Knees and toes turned out. Shoulders out of my ears. Let's take an inhale here to prepare. And then as you exhale, you're going to tuck your tailbone and roll up through the spine, bone by bone. At the very top of your bridge, take an inhale to prepare. And then as you exhale, you're going to articulate and roll the hips back down onto the carriage. Inhale here. Exhale, tuck and roll it up bone by bone. At the very top, feel the shoulders and the ribs engage and lengthen down. And then exhale, roll back down through the spine, all the way to the carriage. Inhale. And then exhale. Feel a scoop of the low abdominals as you tuck and round through the spine at the top, making sure those bottom two ribs are knitting together. And then exhale, articulate and roll it back down. And go for 3 more. Roll through the spine, bone by bone. Think of peeling the spine off the carriage. Feel the glutes wrap around the hips. And then we exhale. And we roll it all the way down. 2 more here. Feel the connection of my hips towards the heel on the foot bar as I roll it up. And then I exhale, roll it down. Feel my shoulders lengthening out of my ears. And then one last time. Roll it up through the spine at the very top of the bridge. Feel my bottom 2 ribs knitting together. From here, I'm going to keep the hips lifted. Feel those glutes wrapping around. I'm going to press all the way out to straight legs and zip up through my inner thighs. And then I pull the hips to the heels, bringing the carriage in. Inhale, I press it away. And then I exhale. Think of reaching those knees out wide into the band as I pull the carriage in. Inhale, press it away. Zip up through the backs of my knees. And then I inhale, bring the carriage in, or exhale, sorry. Inhale, press away. And then my shoulders are reaching and lengthening away from the ears as I'm pressing out and in. I'm thinking of that seatbelt tightening around my abdominals as I press in and out with my legs. Go out for 3 more here. And then I bring it in. Still active through the glutes. Out here for 2. I'm thinking of pulling my hips to the heels. And then last one there. Press it away. Knees over the toes into the band. And then let's roll back down through the middle of the spine. And let it rest. All right. From here, I'm going to go a little wider with my heels on the foot bar. Because my band is quite tight, I'm not going to go all the way wide. But I'm going to go about shoulder width apart. Knees are wide into my band. This time it's going to be a flat back bridge up. So from here, I'm going to hinge up with a flat back. Exhale, lift up as 1. Knees stay wide. Inhale, and I'm going to tap the tailbone back down. Exhale, hollow and lift. Glutes wrap around the back. Inner thighs are rotating towards my ceiling. Feel that scoop of the pelvic floor here still. Ribs knit together. Inhale, I tap it back down. Think of firing up through those hamstrings, hips towards the bar. Keeping those knees wide, knees over my toes. Firing up the outside of my glutes as I'm pressing out into the band. Let's go for 2 more here. Lift up for 2. And then I lower it down. And then last time here, I press and lift. I'm going to hold it high. From there, I'm going to pulse my knees out into the band with an exhale and an exhale. I'm still trying to scoop through my pelvic floor. My hips are nice and parallel with the carriage. My shoulders are reaching out of the ears. I'm tightening a seatbelt through my center here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to bring those hips back down to my carriage. Catch the breath for a little second. Shake out the legs if you need. From here, I'm going to finish things off with some single leg bridge. It's going to be a single leg march. So I'm going to start with my heels hip width distance. As I lift up into my single leg bridge, I'm going to take my leg into a tabletop position, resisting into the band. Let's start by leaving the left foot on the foot bar, and the right leg comes to tabletop as I march. Take an inhale to prepare, and then as you exhale, I lift up single leg bridge, pull my right leg tabletop, and then I bring it back down. And then I'm going to alternate right heel down, left knee lift tabletop, into the band, and then down. Exhale, lift it high. Inhale, and it lowers. Alternating it. Exhale, scoop my pelvic floor, lift the knee tabletop. Inhale, bring it down. And again, hollow through my abdominals, resist into the band. Hips are nice and level as I'm marching. Exhale, scoop and lift. Check in with the shoulders. Keep them reaching away from the ears. Inhale, and I bring it down. And again, I scoop and I lift. Hips are level. 3 more here. Lift it 3. And then down. Think of that connection from my hip to my heel on the foot bar for 2. And then on my last one, exhale, lift it, shoulders down, ribs in. Inhale, and I bring it down. Very nice. Okay, from there, we're going to leave that band on. We're just going to rock up to a seated position and change our springs. And we're going to switch it up to do some abdominals and some supine arms. So I'm going to take my springs. I'm going to go to 1 heavy and 1 medium spring. You could also do 1 heavy, 1 light. If you're on a stout reformer, that might look like a red and a blue, or 2 reds if you like it heavier. If you're on a balanced body, same thing, maybe 2 red springs or a red and a blue if you like it a little bit lighter. I'm going to bring my headrest up. You can leave it down if you like. And then we're going to lie down on the back and grab those straps. My hands are going to find small loops or handles, whatever you're comfortable with. So reach over your blocks, grab your straps. I'm going to imprint my lower back into the carriage. I'm going to take my legs up into a tabletop position in the air. Because the band is on, I'm going to keep my knees about hip width distance apart. So I have a little bit of tension in the band so it doesn't slip all the way down. Take an inhale here to prepare, and then as you exhale, pull the hands down to the hips, lift the head for a crunch, reach my hands out to my foot bar, and then I inhale, I roll it back down. And exhale, scoop, and I lift. Feel my ribs shifting into my hips. My belly button scooping into my spine, up to my rib cage. Let those shoulders lengthen away from the ears. So I'm long neck. Hollow and carve out the abdominals. Think ice cream scoop with my core. We're going to start to add a single leg extension into the band. So as I crunch, press one leg over the foot bar, resist the band, bring it back into tabletop, alternate those legs. Inhale, it lowers back down. And again, scoop to the pelvic floor as I extend the leg. Find one knee pressing into the band, the other knee resisting the band. The knee that stays bent in tabletop, see if you can engage deeper into that oblique, that side abdominal activates. Imagine you're still tightening that seatbelt around the abdominals. Hollow and carve the core. 4 more. Exhale, I reach it out for 4. Inhale, I bend in. Exhale, pull with those lat muscles down the sides for 3. And in. 2 more here. Now on this last one, hold that crunch. Holding it here, bicycle kick the legs. I go for a switch and a switch. Exhale, inhale. My ribs to my hips, my navel to my spine. 8, 7, 6, 5. Hold that crunch high for 4. Navel in 3. Hands to bar 2. Last 1. And let's roll it down and rest. Good. Okay, from here, I'm going to take my legs into a frog position in the air. So my heels are together, my knees, my toes are apart. I'm going to take my arms wide, parallel to the floor. So I'm going to really fire up through my lat muscles. As I pull my hands to the hips, I'm going to extend my legs over the bar, lift the head for a crunch. And then as I roll down, I bend my knees into the band again. Exhale, scoop and lift. Inhale wide with the arms, shoulders out of the ears. Pull with those lat muscles, sweep them down the side of the body. Inhale, I lower. Exhale, scoop and lift. And then down. 3 more here. I lower. For 2. On this last one, hold that crunch if you can. I hold it here, and then I'm opening just my arms. My arms open with an inhale. Exhale, they sweep down. Inhale. Exhale, wrap the abdominals in. Inhale wide with the arms. Belly button scooping in. 2 more here for 2. Last time here. Exhale it. And then I can roll it down and let it rest. Whew, catch the breath for a little second. The last one that we're going to do is your triceps. So I'm going to bring my elbows into my ribs about 1 inch away from my carriage so they're hovering. I take my legs back to a tabletop position. As I crunch and extend my arms, I'm going to extend 1 leg high to the sky, 1 leg over my foot bar, making an L shape with my legs. So I take an inhale. As I exhale, press my palms to the carriage, 1 leg high, 1 leg low, into the band. And then I bend elbows and knees back in, reset. Exhale, reach. Inhale, I bend. And again, exhale, extend. And it lowers. Exhale, press. And inhale. Scoop through that pelvic floor to extend through the legs. I'm tightening my seatbelt through my ribs, my abdominals wrapping in. I inhale, I lower. Exhale, press it away. And then down. 3 more here. Reach at 3. And then in. Shoulders reaching out of my ears here for 2. On my last one, I hold. Hold that crunch, scissor kick my legs. I go switch and switch. Exhale, exhale. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Reach those arms. 3. Lower down. 2, 1. And rest all the way in. Whew. Catch your breath for a second. Go ahead and hang your straps up onto your pegs or your hooks. And then you can kind of let the knees rock side to side if you need to release any tension. In your lower back, let the abdominals release. Catch the breath here. From here, we're gonna move into some lower body again. So we're gonna do some squats and some skaters with the band on, but we're gonna change our springs. So carefully rock up to a seated position. We're gonna go kind of a medium setting. So I'm gonna go to one light spring, one medium spring. If I was on a stott reformer, that might look like a blue and a white. If I was on a balanced body, that might look like one red, slightly on the heavier side. If that's too heavy, drop it down to a blue and a yellow. We're gonna grab the box. The box is gonna come onto your reformer in a short box. And then we're gonna make sure you have a platform to stand on. If you don't have a platform extender, you can bring your foot bar down so that you have room to stand and do some squats on your platform. Okay, so I'm all set up with my short box on the carriage, platform on. My foot bar is down just a little bit so that I do have room to do some squats on my platform. Carefully come to a standing position. We're gonna bring left foot onto the platform first, right foot onto the carriage. And then I can use the box for a little bit of stability. So the idea is I'm gonna press my carriage out just a little wider than shoulder width. I'm actually gonna pull my band up just a little higher. Again, if the band ever feels like it's too much, you're welcome to take it off. So I'm gonna bring my left foot all the way to the edge of my platform so I can get some tension in my springs. And then I'm gonna press the carriage just a little wider than shoulder width, and I'm gonna try to hold it still. So I'm resisting not only my band and the springs. Try to think using both inner thighs and the outside of the glutes to resist your springs. So keeping the carriage nice and still for this first set, I'm just gonna lower down into a squat with a flat back. And then I'm gonna drive through my feet to stand up to tall. I think of lengthening my tailbone out behind me, my belly button, I'm lifting up and away from my band. Let my shoulder blades glide down my back. And then I drive through my heels to stand it up tall. Again, both inner thighs and outside of my glutes are active. My shoulder blades rolling down the back. Inhale as I lower it down. I exhale, press to tall. Trying your best to keep that carriage as still as possible. Mind's going all over the place. Press to tall. Try not to let that band take your knees in. My knees are still pressing out wide over the toes. Shoulders down my back. 3 more here for 3, and then we'll add to it. I press up tall. Here for 2. And then I lift. Last time here. Inhale. Now I'm gonna add a little skater. So I'm gonna drop down into my knees. I press my right leg out to straight. I bring my right leg in, and then I stand it up to tall, and then I repeat. So I hinge it flat back, stay low, press my right leg out to straight, right leg in, nice and tall. I inhale, I lower it down, press away, I bring it in, and lift. My shoulders are gliding down the back. Outside of my glutes active. I'm scooping my pelvic floor. Press the carriage out. I bring it in. Tighten the seatbelt through the abdominals. We go down. Press away. Bring it in. One more time here. We drop it low. I press it away. I'm gonna stay low into my knees. Now it's a skater. So I just press that right leg out. In. Out. In. Check in with this left leg. A lot of times as I teach this, I see this left leg start to weak and turn in. So keep that left knee turned out towards the foot bar. Outside of both glutes active. Go here for 5. Lift the belly button away from the band. 4. Shift the weight to that left heel for 3. Shoulders are gliding down the back for 2. I bring the carriage halfway in. I pulse up and down into the legs to finish it. Exhale and exhale. Navel in, shoulders are back. Here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then I bring that carriage in, carefully stand up to tall. Okay, from here, we're gonna go for some abdominals. We're gonna do some planks. So I'm gonna carefully step off so I can change my springs. I'm gonna leave my left foot on the platform. I'm just gonna step down with my right foot. I'm gonna go to a medium setting. So I'm gonna go either a single, well, it would be a single blue on either. Either a blue on a stot or blue on a balanced body. Switch it up if you wanna go harder, make it a yellow or a white. Come back to a kneeling position on your carriage, elbows and forearms to the box. My toes are gonna go onto my platform here. I'm gonna stay low. I'm gonna keep the band on. Elbows and forearms come onto my box, and then I'm gonna lift my knees for a hover. I press the carriage out to straight, and then as I bend my knees in, I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna pulse my knees out, flare into the band. Scoop up with my abdominals, bend the knees in, pulse, pulse. Tighten the seatbelt here. Knees come in. I pulse, pulse into the band. Extend the little back of the knee to the ceiling, bringing it in. Pulse, pulse. I bend. Pulse, pulse into the band. Press it away. Shoulders back. Neck long. My chin is out of the chest. I bring it home. Pulse, pulse. 2 more here for 2. And in. Press it away. Bring it in. Pulse, pulse. All the way out to straight. I hold. Finish off with some mountain climbers. So I'm going to pull one knee in towards my box, resist the band, replace to my platform. Exhale, inhale. I go for 4, 3, fire up those side abdominals, 2, last 1, feet to my platform, bend the knees in, let it rest and relax. Catch the breath for a quick little second. We're gonna switch the legs up and go into your squats on the other side. So I'm gonna hop off towards my left side here. Hop off toward my left. I'm gonna add that spring back on. So I'm coming back into my 1 light, 1 medium spring. And then we're gonna go into your squats facing the opposite side. So I'm going to take right foot platform, left foot carriage. Carefully stand right foot to the platform, left foot to the carriage. My left foot's gonna go all the way into my box. Right foot's gonna go all the way to the edge of my carriage. And then we're gonna go into our squats to begin. So I'm gonna push the carriage just away, about shoulder width apart or a little wider. I'm resisting the band and the springs using my glutes and my inner thighs. Roll my shoulders back and down. From here, keeping the carriage as still as possible, I lengthen my tailbone, drop into a squat, knees stay wide. I drive through my heels. I stand it up to tall. Inhale and I let it lower. Exhale and I press. Inhale, drop it down. Shoulder blades keep gliding down my back. Knees wide over the toes, active outside glutes. Think of that seatbelt tightening around my abdominals, back to front. Shoulder blades are gliding down my back. And I lift. Inhale, it lowers. Reach that tailbone long. Knees nice and wide. Let's go for 3 more. Down for 3. And I press through those heels, knees nice and wide. Here for 2. And I lift. One more time here, drop into that squat. press up to tall. Now we add a skater. So I'm dropping it down, press that left leg out straight. I bend the left leg in and I lift and then down, press away, bring it in and tall. There's a bee that just is loving this sweat that's all over my box. I don't like bees. And down we drop into my squat. I press the carriage out. I bring it in. Good. Now keep that tailbone long and lengthened as you're pressing through. My belly button keeps scooping away from that booty band. Shoulders are down my back and I press. Inner thighs resist those springs as I stand. 3 more, dropping it down, pressing away. I bring it in, lift. 2 more here. Exhale, inhale. Last time, I drop it down, I press away, I bring it in, let's stay low. Press that carriage out with just the left leg, reach, and in. Exhale, press, and bend. Check in with the right side, my right leg is still resisting my band. Keep that right knee pressing away. Shoulders are down the back. Ribs are knitting together here. Go for 3. Exhale, press it 2. Last time here, halfway in. Pulses up and down. I go exhale and exhale. Knees are wide. Ribs are in. Shoulders are back. Fire up the glutes here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then slowly let that carriage come home. Good. Catch the breath, pound out the legs if you need to. I'm going to carefully step off backwards and change my spring so that we can go back into one more set of planks here. You can bring your hands to the box and the bar. Bring that right foot down to the floor. I'm going to go into a light spring this time. So just my lightest spring. Maybe that's a yellow if you're on a balanced body. Maybe that's a white if you're on a stot. I'm going to come to hands on my box this time. Toes are going to come onto my platform. And I'm going to press out to a plank. So I'm just going to go from a simple pike to plank. I'm going to exhale as I pull this carriage home with my low abdominals. And then I inhale and I lower back down into my plank. You can go feet together. Inner thighs zipping up. If that makes your band slip down the legs, you're welcome to go hip width distance if you need to. Think of pulling that carriage home with the scoop of your pelvic floor. Exhale and I lift it. Feel those abdominals wrapping in back to front. My shoulders are lengthened out of my ears. Tailbone is reaching up towards my ceiling. Belly button reaches past my spine. Go for 2 more here. Exhale, lift it 2. Head follows in line with my spine. And then the last one here. Finish out into a plank. Let's bend the knees. Let that carriage come in. And you can let it rest. Sort of catch the breath here. Okay. We're going to go back into one more set of lunges with a side plank. It's going to be slightly different and slightly more advanced. So what we're going to do is switch your box into a short box. I'm going to hop off to my left side here. So I'm hopping to my left, which would be the right side of the reformer. Done with the band, so you can take the band off. I'm going to go into 1 medium spring. Just 1. We'll be doing some lunges. And then we will be doing a side plank. Take your box, we turn it into a long box. But it's not going to be right down the middle of the carriage. It's going to scooch over to the side so that we have some room to stand with our foot onto this side of our box. So make sure it's aligned with the edge of the carriage, but it's not going to slip away. From there, this is where the balance challenge comes in. I'm gonna bring my left foot onto my carriage. Right hand's gonna go to my box. Now, options. You can either go foot to the foot bar, or if you want a little less advanced, bring your right foot down to your platform, whatever you're comfortable with. For today, because I want to go slightly more advanced, I'm bringing my right foot onto the bar. Actually, I'm going to scooch my left foot just a little further back. Right foot to the bar, feet are going to be about hip-width distance apart. So because it's slightly lighter spring, it's going to be a bit of a balance challenge. We're going to hinge at the hip, lunge forward into my left leg, push the carriage out with my right. So I press away from my bar, hinge at my hips, belly button into my spine, and then I'm going to use the scoop of my pelvic floor, hamstrings and glutes on the left leg to pull that carriage back in. And again, I lunge it low, pressing out and away, long flat back, right leg long and lengthened. Drive through that left heel, pull the carriage home with the pelvic floor. And again, I lunge it low, flat back. See if you can get that back leg all the way out to straight behind you. And then I press through the foot, scoop with the pelvic floor. Try not to let the shoulders round forward as you lunge, but keep those shoulders rolled back and down. And then I press through that foot. I bring the carriage in. Go for 2 more here for 2, and then we add to it. And I press. Keep that right hip squared forward, left hip back. Good. One more time, lunging it low. And then I'm pressing through that foot. Okay, now from here, hinge at the hips, stay low on my knees. So it's going to be a scooter. I'm starting low, I stay low. Shift your weight into the heel of this left foot. Lengthen that tailbone. I'm just going to press this right leg all the way out to straight. I bend the right leg back in, stay low. Light touch on the box if you need. If you don't need that box, hands can go into prayer as my shoulders roll back, flat back. I'm lengthening my tailbone out behind me. Drive my left heel into my carriage. My hips are squared. Right hip forward, left hip back. Shoulders squared with the hips. 4 more extensions for 4. And in. I press for 3. And in. Out here for 2. Woo, woo. Find the balance. And now on your last one, I hold it out there. I'm pressing it out. I hold. Now I'm going to bring my hands to the box. This is where your side plank comes in, slightly advanced. I'm going to bring my right elbow and forearm onto the box. I'm going to cross my right foot behind me, and I'm going to go into a side plank here. Now, hold that carriage still. See if you can find that side plank. Without moving the carriage, I'm going to thread the needle. So I'm going to wrap my left arm under, open my left arm out to the side. I'm not moving the carriage. I'm resisting. And I open. If that foot on the foot bar is too much, you're welcome to bring your feet down to that platform. Keep your shoulder stacked over the elbow here. And then in. Last one. And then we hold it side. Now from here, I'm going to bend my knees in. Bring that carriage home. And then I press out. Let yourself zip up through the inner thighs. Inhale, I bend. I exhale, I extend. My ribs knit together. And inhale. My right side is lifted and engaged. Press those legs out to straight. Zip up through the inner thighs. Go for 2 more. For 2. And I press it out. Last one here. Inhale. Let's press it all the way out. Hold. Take your left hand to the box. Rotate. Take your right foot down to the platform. Left foot to the platform. Bring the carriage in. You can rest onto the box. Catch your breath for a little second here. We're gonna switch it up, finishing off with your right leg. So I'm gonna hop off toward my right side. We're gonna switch the box. So I'm taking my box from one side of the carriage over to the other. So I'm just gonna carefully switch. Again, make sure it's lined up with the edge, but not all the way so that it falls off. So I'm gonna take my left foot to the platform, hands to the box, right foot onto my carriage. Again, my feet are gonna be on two separate tracks, so I could be about hip-width distance apart. Because I'm slightly advancing it today, I'm gonna bring my left foot onto the foot bar behind me. Find your balance, square your shoulders, square your hips. There. We're gonna lunge into that right leg, push the carriage away from you with your left. Feel the length behind the back of your left leg. And then I'm gonna drive through my right foot, scoop up with my pelvic floor, stack my shoulders back up over the hips. I inhale, I lunge it forward. Long flat back. And then I'm gonna scoop up through my low abdominals, press that right foot as I stand up to tall. And I lunge it low. Let the shoulder blades melt and glide down your back. Think of your left hip squaring forward, right hip drawing backwards. As you go into that lunge, think of this belly button lifting away from that right thigh bone so that we're supporting my lower back. I can bend this left knee as I pull the carriage home. My left hip is squared forward, shoulder blades gliding down. Scoop up with my pelvic floor. I stand it back up to tall. A few more through here, drop into my lunge. Woo, fighting for that balance. Think of tightening a seatbelt around the abdominals to help keep the balance as we're going through our lunges. 3 more here for 3. And then I stand it back up to tall. And I drop it down in here for 2. Keep those hips squared, shoulders reaching down my back. Press through the whole of my right foot, stand up tall. Last time. Last one here. I drop into the lunge. And then I'm gonna press. Okay, from there, hinge at the hips, lower down into my knees. It's a little scooter. So I'm gonna press the carriage out with my left leg, staying low into my right knee. Inhale, I bring it in. If you need to, light touch on the box. Pressing through that left leg all the way straight. Square that left hip forward, right hip back. My tailbone is long and lengthened out behind me. Think of driving my right heel down into my carriage, shoulder blades down my back. Inhale, and I bring it in. Exhale, press it. And in. Flat back, chin lengthens out of the chest, shoulders rolling down the back. 3 more here, press it. 3. And in. Out here for 2. Lift the belly button away from the thighs. Support that lower back, glide the shoulders down. Last one here, I hold. Bringing my hands onto the box. And then I'm gonna bring my left elbow and forearm onto the box. We'll see how I do. My arms are super sweaty. We're gonna take this right foot, I'm gonna bring it to the foot bar. Cross the right foot behind the left, find your balance, and then we're gonna open those hips up to the side. Holding that balance, reach my right arm high. Thread the needle. Carriage stays still. I'm just gonna wrap my right arm under my torso. Open and reach up to the side. And again. Carriage stays still. My shoulder staying nice and stacked over my elbow. And then I open it side. Good. Feel my ribs drawing in. Navel scoops to my center. 3 more here. For 3, we're almost there. And I reach. Good, here for 2. After this, we just have one more exercise and we're all done. Last one here, wrap. Let's open that arm to the side, hold that side plank, toes on the bar. I'm gonna bend my knees in, pull the carriage home, and then I press out to straight legs. Zip up through the inner thighs. Inhale and I bend. Whew, I can barely talk. Exhale, press it away. Shoulder stays nice and stacked. Lace my ribs. Inhale, bend. Exhale, press out. 2 more here. Keep that left side lifted. 1 more, I bring it in. Press it out. Take my right hand to the box. Rotate, I'm gonna bring my left knee to the carriage. And I let that carriage come all the way back home. Feet can come down to my platform. Very nice, catch your breath. You are all finished for today. Nice job, nice job. So, we're just gonna finish with a roll down all together here. So you can hop off to the side of your reformer. I'm just gonna hop off in front. We're just gonna do a roll down. So feet are gonna be about hip width distance apart. Great job. Inhale, reach the arms out wide. Exhale, we dive it forward and round out through the spine. Hollow out the abdominals. While you're here, just relax your neck and shake your head no. Nod your head yes. And then we bend the knees and slowly roll up through the spine, bone by bone. Feel the shoulder shrugs open up the chest. And then you are all finished for today. Nice job. Thank you so much for joining me on our lower body and abs reformer workouts. Hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all again next time.